have a few people leaving, but I feel like we should get started because we're a little behind schedule, and nobody likes that at the end of the day, that's for sure. So I am Laurie Jennings from the Good Housekeeping Institute. I'm also the deputy editor of the magazine, and obviously at Good Housekeeping we are testing tons of products all the time. And I would say in the last 12 to 18 months, we have just seen an explosion in terms of the types of products related to all things parenting, but specifically in the area of nurturing and spending time with your baby from the time of being in the womb into the first few months of life. And I have a very exciting group of people here with me who I'm sure have some great insights. I'll just let them quickly introduce themselves and share a little bit about what they do, and then we'll jump into it.
Hi, I'm Colleen Hancock. I am the COO of Baby Center and VP of Marketing and Acceleration for Johnson & Johnson. And I have been with Baby Center now for over 18 years. And we are the leading resource, digital resource for pregnancy and parenting globally, and serve about 50 million unique moms and parents monthly, and really continue to evolve technically to be able to serve the needs that she has for today.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Liat Ben-Zur. I help build digital solutions at Philips. And at Philips, we're right now on a mission transforming the company, but also trying to transform healthcare and really change how people think about healthcare, from this thing that happens to you in hospitals to really your everyday life. So democratizing healthcare, giving people more control of their health, and taking healthcare out of the hospitals into the homes by connecting up things that happen kind of in the consumer world with a lot of consumer IoT solutions with the medical professional regulated worlds. And we think that really will change how we think of healthcare in the future.
That's great. And Gustav?
I'm Gustav Praekelt. I'm the founder of Praekelt.org. I'm from South Africa. We specialize in building very large-scale, population-scale solutions to improve the lives of people living in poverty. And more particularly, why I'm here today is we've been working with the South African government building the first truly nationally scaled health platform called Mom Connect, where we connect basically every single mother in South Africa in the public health system. Any mother who falls pregnant, we connect her to personalized healthcare and help desk, and it works over very available technology, basically anybody with a mobile phone, and that's now being scaled across the rest of Africa. So really excited to talk about those applications.
That's great. So as a mother, I discovered, and like many, found Baby Center very early on, from almond size to as the fetus and then baby grew, and it was such a great resource. And I just wonder, after working in this industry for 18 years and being so connected, pardon the pun, what have you noticed in terms of how mothers have changed in that time, what the needs are, and how has that changed?
It's interesting. I mean, like you say, we are now going on 21 years old, so we've actually raised a generation of children and parents. So we've seen the real technology explosion throughout those 20 plus years. Moms continue to definitely think of family, and family matters most. That has not changed. Moms continue to, there's about 9 hours a day that's added to mom's job based on diapering and feeding and sleeping and all of that. So that time stress still exists. How we've actually been able to utilize technology continues to evolve as well. Moms and parents tend to be very early adopters of technology, and we've really been out in the forefront to make sure that we're there where she needs us. Starting with the internet, we collected data, which is the big thing today, but back 21 years ago, we collected a due date or a birth date and an email address. And that then unlocked the magic of the experience, because we created week by week information of everything that was going on in the development of your fetus or your child. And that's proven to be incredible mass personalization as we've continued to be able to mine the data over time to really understand with proprietary tools and looking at consumer insights, always building for consumer first to really continue to evolve. Beyond the internet and really serving her in that capacity came mobile. The iPhone just turned 10 last year. We were in mobile phone right at that time in the beginning. Moms today are 98% mobile penetration across the globe pretty much. And she utilizes, it's a computer in her hand, basically. I mean, really, she does have all the information at her fingertips and uses that. Evolving then into social, we always had bulletin boards and communities, but really the whole social growth of Facebook and Instagram and all of that. And moms have really been early users in those realms as well. However, we're starting to see now that they feel, 80% of them feel that they have to be perfect. And social media is one of those things that is actually somewhat problematic in that way, which is something in our communities we don't see as much because we really are this safe haven for mom-to-mom sort of wisdom. But social is good and then sometimes very stressful because all of the good life of the family is seen front and center there. And now we're evolving over to the Internet of Things. And about a third of moms that we talk to, which is very statistically significant because we serve 7 out of 10 moms in the United States. And we really are seeing that they believe that by owning some form of IoT, they really believe it is improving their lives. And they are very much looking forward to new developments. They live in kind of micro moments. So how they're able to take care of themselves and their families, anything that can help that either on your wrist or in your car, or while you're breastfeeding, you can say something and get something done. Your oven can go on or preheat. Those kinds of things are going to be amazingly successfil as we move forward.
It's very relevant in the United States. It may be less relevant in other countries where internet might be a little bit more spotty, or the challenges are a little more. There are different challenges, but one thing that seems to unify all of you is this interest and focus on mobile and how that can actually help build these stronger connections between mom and baby. What were the problems that you're trying to solve ultimately when it comes to making stronger bonds between mother and child, young babies?
Making her life easier, empowering her, giving her the knowledge so that she feels comfortable and confident.
What about you? Yeah.
So I think the way that we tend to look at it is every child is extremely different. Right? And as a mother of 2 kids, I had extremely different experiences with both of them as babies and at birth and with pregnancy. And most of the information that's out there is sometimes one size fits all. And it's really hard.
I feel like that's changing a little bit.
Yeah, that is changing right now. And I think that is what parents look for.
Right.
Parents are looking for customized, personalized information that's relevant to their baby at the right time. And like the question, is this normal, is a really hard question to answer. Just being to go to a bulletin board that says, my kid did this at age 3, and well, my kid's not doing that at age 3, so, like, can stress you out a little bit. So really kind of understanding the developmental patterns of children and providing kind of the right clinical advice from professionals and from experts at the right time is something that we're really focusing on.
Yeah.
So what is Philips doing currently to achieve those goals of helping strengthen those bonds?
So one of the things that we're working on in this space is called the YouGrow Parenting Platform. And the YouGrow Parenting Platform is really a solution designed for parents to be able to track the development of their baby. Now, it's not just about tracking a lot of data. You can track everything on this app, everything from feeding to breastfeeding, temperature, sleep, crying, pooping, everything. But that's not enough, because I think there's a lot of places where you can do that. One is, how do you make that easier, right? Because doing everything manually is quite difficult. So we work with the IoT products that are out there, we're building solutions to really make that easy. So one of the things that we've announced is a connected baby bottle, for example, which will allow you to automatically be able to determine how much you're feeding, when you're feeding, what was the temperature, and that really gives a lot of information about babies that have feeding problems. So understanding that, all of that automatically gets entered into the app, and being able to present that in such a way that's really relevant for the mom at the right time. Beautiful timelines, you can put milestones, certain things that happen, but even that's not enough. What's really important is to be able to use that information to provide the parent the personalized and relevant information at the right time. So we worked with clinical experts, developmental experts to really provide insights based on that data that show up on the app. So for example, hey, I notice your kids aren't eating very well over the past few days, but it also is odd that the temperature has dropped in the baby's room during those days. Maybe there's a correlation, take a look at that. So trying to bring relevant insights at the right time. And at the show this week, we announced a partnership with American Well. So not only are you getting the relevant information, but if it is 2 in the morning and your baby has a fever and you don't know what to do you go to the emergency room?
Right.
You can actually call 24/7 and have a live conversation with professionals. So really bridging that consumer world, the IoT world, all the things that you kind of see here at CES with the professional world at the right time, at the right place. And it can be a pediatrician that you can talk to, it can be an adult doctors that you can talk to, it can be mental health professional, it can be a lactation nurse, which is one of the biggest problems that women have, is really getting breastfeeding right. So all of that available at the tip of your fingers at the right time is.
Right. And in terms of Mom Connect, how does that fit in with the other services that we're talking about here in terms of, it sounds like it's very much about helping new moms feel confident in what's happening in their lives currently.
Yeah, well, the way, walking around the show, I see this incredible complex technology, but I think what we kind of look at it a little bit from another perspective. We're saying, yes, we want to use those complex technology, we want to use machine learning and AI to understand these problems, but what we want to try and do is make the delivery of that information as simple as possible. So, and I think we spoke about this yesterday as well, is like we see a lot of these technologies that have this huge potential, but what we really trying to do is give more time and more information to mothers so that they have more time and we can see better outcomes. And so with Mom Connect, for instance, the interface is not VR or really complex stuff that you have to put in your head. It's a simple phone. So you can use a feature phone, you can use SMS to communicate, to connect to a personalized, what you said, personalized health advice. And what we've seen is tremendous improvements in health outcomes by just really making those interfaces as simple as possible, providing the healthcare and the information when you need it, in the language that you need it, 24/7. We'll never have enough doctors to go around in Africa or globally. We'll never have enough nurses, but we can provide best in class care. We can have the same outcomes in the long run if we provide that same level of information that's really targeted to the mother at the right time, save her time. So rather than add to the cognitive load that you already have because you're living in poverty or in a resource-constrained environment, we want to reduce that cognitive load so that the time that you have available really helps you to be a better mother. And I really think that's entirely possible. The same technology and information that's available here, we can make globally available through these technologies. Now with things like WhatsApp and social media, we can connect mothers not only to other health providers, but to each other. And so I think looking at those technologies and utilizing the power of the data analysis, but then making it very simple for the mother, I think we can, we're already seeing incredible outcomes, and we can do that for every single mother on the planet.
When you say you see incredible outcomes, can you provide some examples? I mean, what are some real success stories? The question's for everybody, but we'll start with Gustav.
Well, obviously we have terrible health outcomes generally in emerging economies. South Africa specifically has a very high HIV numbers, where a third of our mothers who present and who fall pregnant are HIV positive. But there are some very simple things that we can do. So for instance, we know that if mothers come for regular ANC visits, and specifically if they come and deliver with a skilled birth attendant, then we know there are tremendous improvements in health outcomes. And so by just having slight changes in behavior, by providing the right information, by educating mothers around things like exclusive breastfeeding as well, we already seeing great impact and outcomes there. In HIV, if we just know, it's just a piece of information, just knowing that you have to follow this protocol. It's a piece of information. Generally, mothers can get to a clinic, and if they know about the protocol, then that'll have a great impact. And a lot of that is just having the right information at the right time delivered to the mother in a way that she can understand it.
And then does that help the mother, does that help strengthen that bond between mother and child? I mean, does that extend into...
Well, I think it extends beyond just that. Now, after birth, when the delivery is taking place in early childhood development, we know how important it is, for instance, nutrition and play, and all those type of things are elements that the mother can do if she has got the right information, if it was personalized and targeted in the right way for her to understand. And I think that can really strengthen that bond by having that information. Can you imagine anything worse than not knowing, that not having the help, that not having a doctor that you can go to a clinic that's close by, but if you can send a simple text message and you know you're getting exactly the right information, I think that will really, and that does really help mothers everywhere to be able to improve their outcomes in there.
Does anyone else have any real success stories that they can share in terms of how their technology has helped with outcomes, health outcomes?
I'd say a little bit. We work directly with Gustav in South Africa, but we also, the broader program is called MAMA, and we have also outcomes in India. And we do voice-based messaging programs there. And we found that the communities congregate together when we created a little jingle because it was coming too fast. And so now they gather together. The men also come. And as the child is born, what we have found is we've really actually changed dad's behavior as well and around play. So before, the fathers were not really getting very involved with the young infants, and now just very easy little things that dads can do with the child, and we are seeing a dramatic increase in happiness in the family, the father actually supporting the mother, playing with the child and all of that. So that's wonderful.
That's really great.
But that emotional connection, just allowing mom that free time and connecting her to other women has been tremendous.
Yeah, so let me give you 3 examples, because focusing on the outcomes of what we're trying to deliver is extremely important for us. We won't do solutions unless we believe we can really add meaningful innovations around it. 3 examples. As a global company, we're looking at solutions all over the world. So one, in an emerging market, we had a solution called MOM, stood for Mobile Obstetrics Monitoring. And what they did is they would go out in Indonesia, which is a population that has very, very low professional healthcare coverage. So most of the population isn't able to get healthcare. And it has one of the highest mortality rates for pregnant women in the world. So a lot of women are dying from preventable diseases out there because they're just not getting any monitoring, and high-risk women weren't able to get the right support from professionals for preventative solutions. Very, very simple solution. Local healthcare workers would walk around with a mobile phone, ask questions. Based on the questions, if someone was high risk, that information went to a central agent that can go out and try to reach just the high-risk population in the community. They did this for a year. Several hundred moms were part of this program, and there were 0 deaths during that time because everyone that was high risk was identified and got a little bit of support. So that is a very kind of tangible one. In the space of children, one of the solutions that Philips has is a Sonic Care toothbrush, connected toothbrush for children. We gamified actually the experience and also taught children, working with dentists actually, the importance of brushing your teeth and how to brush your teeth and turn it into a game. The impact that this has had and the feedback has been extremely strong. One of the most stressful periods for parents happens to be in the morning and at night when they need to get the kids to brush their teeth, and usually they don't brush their teeth very well. Almost everyone who's used a Sonicare toothbrush, connected toothbrush for children, come back and say, it has changed the habits of my child in their oral health care. Their oral health care habits, by the way, by age 10 get set for life. So if you can make that impact, you can change your oral health care habits for life. So really, really big impact for children. And then in YouGrow, I think the biggest impact, I'll tell you on a personal level, My second child I had 5 years ago, really, really difficult experience with a premature baby, spent 3 months in NICU. And when we were released, I had to track everything. So I downloaded about 10 different apps. Back then, everything kind of just tracked little bits and pieces. Every time I would have to go to a doctor after you leave the NICU, you have lots of different specialists, lots of different doctors. They're always asking me the same questions. It seems like no one ever talked. I was trying to keep track of all the data by myself on these 12 different apps. Showing the doctor information across 12 apps, they would look at you like you're a moron. And with YouGrow, what we've done is we've really taken that to heart in a lot of the design decisions. Everything is in one place, but not only that, we've designed a way to make it available for doctors. So you can export all your data in a PDF, present that to doctors, specialists, get all that data into your child's records if necessary, and really trying to solve real problems and make that impact. Those are three examples.
That's really great. In terms of just all, I mean, you talked a little bit about it, but all of the buzzwords that are happening this week, VR, AI, AR, deep learning, how are and sort of behavioral related changes or machines learning your behavior better than you know it yourself, how might those sort of buzzwords, CES buzzwords and sort of trendy IoT things help in what we're talking about today in building that stronger connection between parent and child?
Well, I think from our side, just having population scale data, machine learning, deep learning, again, I think it's all that complexity needs to be in service of empowering the mother. So for us, the fact that we've had a help desk where a mother can send a simple question by an SMS, we now have more than 1 million questions that have been asked by mothers over the last 3 years. And we can take that, we can throw that into these machine learning algorithms, and we can now start building predictive models. What are the best answers that get us the best outcomes for each of those mothers? So it doesn't need to necessarily be complex at the consumer end.
Right.
The whole idea is that it is in service or something. Or something as simple as just asking mothers, how long did you wait at a clinic? Now, we're not talking about the US, we're talking about in Africa, where you'd think, oh, well, you know, it's just a lost cause, we'll never have great quality care. But by just empowering mothers and giving, see, technology doesn't always work everywhere, but empowering mothers by just them saying, oh, I waited this long, suddenly the power's back in their hands, and they can see that having that piece of information gives us analytic capability to say, well, here are problems in these clinics, and that's correlated with certain outcomes. Now, so I think a lot of those techniques and tools are all fine and well as long as they go towards really simplifying and making the end result better for our mothers.
Right.
We use a lot of data to really look at spikes in conversations, issues that might be happening. We've done a lot of work around postpartum depression. We've seen, you know, the industry thinks that it ends at 6 months after birth. We've really seen the trend go on, which then leads into full-on depression. So we've used a lot of that to help connect women to that personalized information to help them, and to also have experts get involved, and actually then also starting to work directly with pharmaceutical companies to really see how we can progress healthcare in that side as well. We're also looking at doing and recruiting for pediatric trials now. We've done a lot of research. We do a lot of research with our audience to really see what those user needs are, and to start to affect that. Pediatric drugs are not tested. They're tested for adults, but it's very difficult, or has been in the past, for the medical community to actually get FDA approval on children. And yet when your children gets very sick, they are then needing to work with the oncologist to figure out what the dosages will be for a child. And so really starting to look at helping that as well.
Do you want to add anything? And then we'll open it up for questions, I promise.
Yeah, so I'm the technologist at Philips. So as a technologist, I'll tell you, it should never be about the technology. It should always be about the user and making the user the hero, never the technology. To me, technology needs to just create magic in the background. It needs to be as simple as possible. And I've been walking around CES and really trying to understand a lot of the cool stuff that's happening. And it blows my mind how many people are presenting things to me. By the way, the more buzzwords someone says to me, the more I completely...
You turn off. Me too, actually.
I turn off, because I actually think... But there's so much awesome stuff out there with all kinds of natural language processing, with all kinds of really smart AI, detecting movements in babies, breathing in babies, changing in babies. And then, you're getting inundated with so much data, more data than your baby's creating poop.
Right. Which is
And
unbelievable.
I usually ask the various companies, okay, but what are you doing with this? So now you have whatever it is, a wearable, a camera, a crib, and it's detected these 20 things for my baby. What should I as mom do? What do I do? What is it that you are doing now to help my life, solve that problem, address the gap that you've identified? So what? And I think if we can't use technology to not just collect data and present me data, but really create a so what, then we're really misusing technology. At least that's kind of how I look at it.
I agree. It's definitely about making the human connection stronger.
Yeah.
And the simplicity piece is very important because it's true. The end user, mom or not, doesn't care about the technology at all, but that person and that individual cares about how it makes their life easier, how it makes things more convenient, how it might save them money or save them time. I mean, that's the bottom line, right? It's about quality time with your family. So I know we're running short on time. Are there any questions for any of the panelists in the room? One.
I think my question's about, there's probably already a lot of maybe concerns that deal with technology in homes around the world. A lot of times it's screen time, I guess. But now we're also talking about opportunities with IoT. And so how do you communicate to the families how much time should actually be focused on solving issues you currently have with technology versus seeking out opportunities to make your life better?
Anyone?
So you're saying how much should you talk about the use of technology in the family?
Yeah. I just assume that most families are first concerned about solving problems that they have. And
Yes.
that could be problems that technology brings into their life. But also, of course, there's a lot of great technology to solving like offline problems. And so are you seeing that families are mostly looking at solving these problems or looking for the opportunities of making life a lot more efficient and saving time and money?
Yeah, I mean, we did some research just recently, and actually, the mom's biggest problem is household chores. So if we get those little robots that were up here before us to just do all of the household chores, I think we would solve a lot of the efficiency problems and allow us as parents and families to spend that time more wisely. I'm not sure if you were getting at this, but the other thing that I do think is going on right now in the industry is the addiction to technology, especially mobile devices and iPads and all of that, and that I think is becoming somewhat problematic for families to try and figure out at what point do my children use this technology. If any of you have young kids or even older kids, once you give them to them, it's super addictive. It's super addictive for all of us as humans. And as I've talked to Gen Z, who are now 18 to 24, and the younger millennials, in the last 4 years, we've seen that parents are now going from about over 2/3 of them used to give the devices to the younger children to now the younger generation, only 40% now are really allowing kids to see and work with screens earlier on. They're really seeing it more problematically, and I can see it too, and I see people walking their child in strollers. They're on the phones. They're not engaging with the child. They're on the playground and they're sitting on the side, while the kids are playing on their phones. And so those are the examples that the kids are seeing as well. So there does seem to be a movement in families, especially young families, to try and figure out that balance and start to pull away. And I was reading this week that actually the two of the biggest stockholders in Apple have now sent Apple a letter to see if Apple, who really doesn't need engagement measures like most of the other digital players do, to really start to look at how do you put more parental controls or help parents understand and balance that. So that's definitely something we'll start to learn more about and help parents with through our information as well. But I do think that's something, as we all get so absorbed in your connected home, our kids aren't even going to know how to turn on a light switch, because all they're going to have to do is say, come on. So it's an interesting balance that
Yeah.
we're going to have to figure out.
Anyone else have a comment?
No,
I think we're out of time.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Well, thank you then.
Yeah, do you want to wrap it? You can wrap up your panel.
But I do want to say, I mean, I think it is a really exciting time, and just to sort of build on the question and the answer, it really is about the variety of, you're solving for problems that you have always, but you're also looking for opportunities, and that in many ways is the beauty of the technology, and the downside is that while it's addictive, it also has great benefits, and it is really about finding those opportunities for real human connections, and that means putting down the phone at times, and it means putting down the screen, but it does really create some exciting opportunities for families. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being here.
Thank
Thank you to
you.
the panelists.